Over to you.
All right. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Mashallah, we have 15 people joined us already and more will be coming, inshallah. So we are really happy to have you all here. And the one from India, someone from Preston, someone from Bradford, people from UK, inside the UK and outside the UK. We welcome you all in this free webinar of the Calm Mother. Some of you know me already, others might not know well. Uh, so I am Quratul Ain. I am the founder of the TorchBearers. Um, Basically, just to give you a little bit introduction of myself, I am from Pakistan. Like I was born in Pakistan, and I spent my life there until I got married. After about 1 year of marriage, we moved to Saudi, lived there for like a couple of years, and then we moved to UK, and we are in UK for last 8 years now. So I'm a doctor by profession, um, but I am onto some other routes now. I did some of my certification in Islamic psychology, in children mental health well-being, something in cognitive behavioral therapy. So my main passion is now mental well-being of the mothers and the children of the Ummah. With this passion and vision, founded the Torchbearers with the in last year. It's been 1 year. So just to let you know a little bit about the Torchbearers, what we do here and what is our mission. Our mission is to nurture the young mind through transformative workshops and programs rooted in Islamic teachings and the science of psychology. We aim to equip children with emotional intelligence, leadership skills, and moral values, enabling them to lead with wisdom and kindness. Inspired by the mission of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we seek to foster self-awareness, resilience, and a deep connection to faith, raising future leaders who carry the light of Islam and serve as a positive role models in the society. Sorry. Our vision is to inspire and empower a generation of young leaders who embody the principles of faith, emotional intelligence, and compassion, shining as torch bearers who positively impact their communities and the world, contributing to the revival and unity of the Muslim Ummah, Biiznillah. Basically, after doing lots of volunteer work in my community, also as like in community and some in online international projects, I was willing to, do something more. Like my aim was to do something more than I was already doing when the incident of Palestine happened, the Gaza incident of October happened, and everyone around the world, the Muslims Ummah was shaken, and we were like, I think everyone was thinking in their capacity what they can do. We can see the fall of the Ummah, and we can see the revival is needed and where it can come from. Thinking of all this, like I think it's from Allah. I thought there should be something I must be doing. So, at the day of judgment, I am at least, say something. Um, I cannot run away from. I was present in this time and age, and I did nothing. So, having this mission in mind, I founded Torchbearers. I have did couple of workshops with the children, and after doing some work with children, I realized children are on fitra, they are masoom, they can easily be molded. But the thing was the us, our mothers and fathers and parents basically who needed to maybe relearn some things, unlearn some things, so they can do the proper nurturing and tarbiyah, which is already in there present with the children. So then we started working with the parents. So I'm already doing some in-person sessions in Preston. Alhamdulillah, I'm also doing online book club with the mothers. So reviving this parenting journey through the lens of Sunnah, through the vision of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and keeping this vision in mind, I invited Sister Aisha who is also doing this amazing work with the mothers, all I think for many many years. Mashallah, she's much younger than me, but she she is like such a big vision she has. She looks like she must be like around 40s because of the work she's doing, but she's not. But she's amazing. So, Sister Aisha is the founder of the Healing Department, where she supports Muslim women through healing, emotional well being, and personal growth using an integration of Islamic psychology and evidence based therapeutic approaches. She facilitates workshops, delivers community programs, and works with the women navigating motherhood, relationships, trauma, and identity. Alongside her practice, she serves as a trustee and a school governor and is currently studying social work, bringing together faith, psychology, and lived experience to create practical, compassionate spaces for change. So, there is much more about Sister Aisha, but we have just shortened it. I will give it over to you, Sister Aisha. You can please explain more about you because it will be good to hear from you about yourself, and then inshallah we can begin our webinar.
Jazakallah khair. I'm still laughing about the age situation.
Yeah, I know. Because you are, mashallah, you are very, very, she's the young ummah,
Yeah,
the
I
hope of our ummah.
Thank you so much. So let's start and then I could joke
Yeah.
in a little while. So okay, so Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. Please do, if you haven't or if you are just new into the class, please do send your salams and tell us where you're coming from. Me and Kurat have worked on this, and I will very much admit I've hardly done anything. Honestly, I this is work and weeks and weeks of work that Kurat has put into this. So I hope that we can pay her respects and we can be very good in the chat. And I'm going to continue. So yes, oh wonderful, you're from London. That's beautiful. Me and Kurat are both in the north of England. So we have been dealing with very temperamental weather. The British love to talk about their weather. Okay,
Yeah, we
so
do.
we do, don't we? We love to talk about the weather
Yeah.
very, very, very much. Um, okay.
Mashallah, Nisa from India.
Oh,
Mashallah,
nice.
it's good to see.
That's so nice to see, mashallah, the lovely weather up there as well. Okay, so I wanted to just continue on from what Gurat mentioned. I am the founder of the healing department, and I have been doing work within the coaching industry for 7 years now. Is it seven? Yeah, this year is going to be the mark the seventh or the eighth year. I don't remember. I'm losing track now, but it has been a
Of
long,
course.
long time. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And Gurat is also right. I started this when I was 24, I think, 23 going on 24. So the industry that I got into was working with Muslim women, and then I moved on to working with Muslim women that had gone through separation, marital issues, divorce, that type of thing, and have done that for 7 years and have been very, very successful in it, alhamdulillah, and delivered many, many courses across the UK, both online and offline, to help women who have gone through those struggles, which we can all relate to. We've all had struggles in relationship. Um, because I felt at that time that those women simply didn't have a space where they could heal their hearts. So I decided to give them that, inshallah. And it just so happens that majority of the women that do come to me are of ethnic minorities, especially here within the UK. So it's just worked like that. But recently, I have over the years I've expanded, but only recently has it become public knowledge that I have expanded into more Islamic psychology, deen work. I am a student of deen work, all other types of things. So we help people get back into work and helping them with stress. But then in addition to this, some of the other roles that I play help the role here, which is the trusteeships that I have and the governor roles that I have. But today we are here to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is something I personally had to learn as a young mother. I became a mom at the age of 19 and Allahumma barik. So which puts me at a position where I have a pre-teen. So if anybody here has advice for me for teenagers, please feel free to tell me. Feel free to tell me. Put it in the chat, inshallah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there now.
Yeah.
So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today you have all gathered for maternal triggers. So we are looking at triggers within the mother that you have all experienced, whether you are a mother or a caregiver. Burnout, and we are looking at inside healing. We're looking at inner healing and how we can help ourselves so that we can be better women. We can be better aunties. We can be better daughters. We can be better, most importantly, better mothers to our ummah. Sometimes I know that we do forget that the roles that we have are simply roles, but we forget who we are in that. So I will always forget Aisha needs to come first so that I can be the mother, so that I can be the auntie, so that I can be a daughter, and all of these other things. I have to have inner strength first. And I know as moms, especially, we give and we give and we give until we just cannot give anymore. And that's when anger and rage and irritation and bitterness comes in. Okay, so if you see me look down, I'm also referring to some notes that I have written, inshallah, but hopefully you will not be able to tell that I haven't made notes. I
Thank
made
you.
this I made this class. I made this class upon many different things that I have taught over the years. So this is something that I teach my own clients, but even me and Kurat have spoken about this many times in classes that we have also taken. Many years ago now, yeah, Habibti.
Yes.
And had many discussions on our children and our health, when it comes to being a parent and all of the different things. And so we're here today to show you our discussions. So just before we start, I have the boring things first, which is rules. Every class got to have rules. This is the same in all of my classes. First things first is I would very much appreciate if you can engage with my class as much as possible. I never get fed up of questions. I never get fed up of people engaging. But I would really like if you could keep it into the chat until the time of questions, and then you can talk to me as much as you want. Okay? Just so that it's very smooth for those of you, and including you, looking back at the recording. It's as smooth as silk, inshallah. So I've kept the class very small. Actually, sorry, this isn't supposed to be for this class. We kept this class pretty small to contribute to the discussion. So we want dialogue in our classes. There is nothing worse than sitting at this desk and talking to myself on my computer and my camera, and no one engages with me. So I'm hoping and praying that you guys will not let that happen and engage with me as much as you can. So first and foremost, to get the discussion going, let me know in the chat what made you sign up here. What is it that you are looking and seeking? What is it? What caught your eye? What was it that Qurat did so well that you are all here, inshallah? My second one is to make as many notes as possible. Now, I am a student, both me and Qurat are students of Deen. And what that means is that we are constantly working to help our ummah. And I know that you guys are with raising those wonderful kids of yours as well. But a true person, a true student is making notes. There is something very beautiful about having qalam. This is a qalam. It helps the memory and helps you understand more about yourself. So utilize your notes, write as many notes as you possibly can. I think you will have the recording of this anyway, but in order for you to solidify your knowledge, write notes. And then lastly, ask as many questions. I've already mentioned this. Ask as many questions as you possibly can, because in order to solidify knowledge, questions are necessary. Just before I move on, I'm just gonna take a look at this lovely chat. Qurat herself. Yep, don't blame you, lovely. Being calm, present, mom. Well done, well done. Qurat is the reason. Ah, Allahumma
That's
barik.
nice. That's making me emotional.
It's all you, Habibti. It's all you. This is it. They come for you, my darling. So why I'm here to have an emotionally sound connection with my child. Oh, Zainab, well done for being here from Pakistan. That's wonderful. What time is it in Pakistan? Let us know. It's the emotional burnout. As a doctor, I can understand. I've been grumpy all this time. Obviously, learning from someone who respect you're more likely to listen. Yeah. Help us not be reactive. Same reasons. It's 4 p.m. Okay, but Walaikum assalam. Yes, Habibti Rahila, I think it is, isn't it? Should be. Right. I think we should all send flowers to Kurat, right? She deserves it. Let's
Thank you
put
so
in the
much.
chat.
Thank you so much.
Well, I don't have flowers right now, but here you can have this. It's for you.
That's very kind of you. That's really very kind of you.
It's a party in a class of Aishas. You should know that already, all the time.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, I know we're talking about a very difficult subject here, but I also like to keep things light. I like to joke about things as well. So join in, even if you do not find them funny, because I need the reassurance. Anyway, so Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. First things first, thank you all for being here. We are going to get right to it. So, when motherhood touches the wound that we haven't healed, this is something I want you to think about. Today's class is not about identifying what our parents did wrong. Because in the healing journey, you identify that this is where the problem started, but there is simply no use in you telling mom, dad, sister, whoever it is, caregivers, that you did this wrong. And the reason I say that very vaguely because in some respects there is, but if you sit in a position of always blaming another person, this is very futile. You are going to really struggle to heal your heart. Okay, when we are looking at healing, we are looking at healing the heart. We are also looking at healing different components of ourselves, like the akal, right? Those of you that speak Urdu or Punjabi or even Arabic, you will understand the word akal. In English, we translate this to the mind. It's not a great translation, but it's a translation. The mind or the brain or the thoughts, right? Akal. And this is in Arabic as well, akal. And the reason I bring up the heart and also the mind is because these are the two things that probably having a war inside you right now. And these are the two things that you have to address when you're going through a healing journey, especially in Islamic psychology anyway. Okay, so today's class, we're not about listing everything that you're currently doing wrong. I am not here to tell you that you're wrong for doing this, you're wrong for doing this, and you're wrong for doing this. This is not a class to blame. Okay, blaming our childhood for everything is extremely futile, and a lot of people get caught up in that. And there is anger. There is space for it for sure. Like, you know that this person hurt you, and there is room for you to say, this person hurt you, this person made you feel guilty about this thing, this person shamed you. But there's also the next step, which is what we want to start looking at now. What am I going to do with all this hurt and pain? Okay. And I'm going to touch everything, I'm going to bring everything in a circle soon for you to understand because we're talking about you, but I'm talking about childhood now is because all wounds start in childhood. I think this is pretty common knowledge now, but if it isn't, let me know in the chat. If you didn't know this, let me know. Making mothers feel guilty about things I've already wished they would have done differently is not my expertise, and it shouldn't be anyone's, quite frankly. We are not here to make you feel that you are doing a terrible job. That's not Islam, that's not healing. What we realize is I have done this and I've done this and I've done this, but now I want to do something different. Okay. And we're going to talk about culture in this particular class as well, inshallah. Okay. So, sorry. I'm just going to quickly give you a few seconds in the chat. Be more responding rather than reacting. I think that's a brilliant way of thinking of things. Zainab sent lovely flowers. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so let's go on. So when we go into motherhood, none of us enters motherhood as a blank page. We always enter motherhood carrying so much history. What do I mean by that? Is we go through the relationship of being a daughter. We go through the relationships of going through school and being a friend to one another. We go through the relationship of possibly being a wife. We go through the relationship of lives, go through the relationship of life before we become a mother, which means that we don't come as a blank slate when we have that child. We're carrying so many things about what childhood should be and what it shouldn't be, what being a daughter or a child should be and what it shouldn't be, what being a mother should be and shouldn't be. And all of these things are based on things that we carry, that me and you have learned being who we are before we became the mom or as we just became a mom. Okay? Which means that you and the person next to you are going to be two very different moms. And those of you that have multiple children, you know that you're not the same mom that you were with the first child, with the second child, with the third child. You had to adapt because you had a little bit more experience, right? You build on that experience, whether it's motherly experience or whether it's life experience, and you just saw so many different things. And we have to appreciate that you're not going to be the same mother to all the children all the time. This, I don't want anyone to say Aisha said to us that we're going to be different, which means we should treat our children different. I don't want you to think that. My point is that each child that we have, we become very different as a mom because we think, okay, I did that before, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I've learned this now. And so a lot of people take from their professions, they take from their family and their friends, like, hey, I did this, don't do this. I did this, don't do this, or increase that. Okay, so we already had experiences as a mom of the way that we were spoken to, the experience that we had, the way that we cried, and the things that we did to cry. Whether disagreements were viewed as disrespect, even whether love and approval sometimes comes across as conditional or it felt conditional. All of these things are things that we have before we became mothers. So we already had an idea of what childhood and being a mom really should be. So in the chat, I'm going to ask a question and I want to know your answers. What did being a good child mean in your home as you grew up? What did it be? What did being a good kid in your house look like? What does it mean to you? I think I wrote it in the next one actually. No, I haven't. Okay. So yeah, let me know in the chat, what did being a good child mean in the home that you grew up in? This is gonna obedient, okay. Obedient and studious, okay. Quiet and obedient, or early independent, okay. What else? There's so many if you hear overly independent. Ah, okay. One who respects and obeys, do as you're told, well behaved. Does everybody see the pattern here? What's one word and almost everyone has said here?
Obedient.
Obedient. But what does obedient mean? Don't give me a textbook definition. What did obedience mean to all of you?
We use this Islamic, in our culture, Islamic phrase, the commonly used, you cannot even say oof to your parents. So they are using it all the time. If you try to, and to be honest, I am so much like grown up with this statement, like you cannot say oof to your parent, that, it actually took me a very long journey to be actually understanding this. What does it mean? But yes, this meant obedient when I was young, means you can't say anything, you cannot even question.
Yeah. I think so many of you here can agree with that, right? Exactly. No questions. Compliant, a follower. Yep, 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 yep. Obedience means not asking questions, being responsible as the eldest child, become the role model for younger siblings, listen to what parents ask you to do and expect of you. Yeah, I think you're all saying literally the same thing, right? It means we listen and we obey, right? We listen and obey. If mom has said to come home at 6 o'clock, we're going to be home at 6 o'clock. If mom said set the table, we're going to set the table. If my dad said we've got to go pray, you go pray. All of these things. And obedience is necessary as a child, but it's the way we raise our children to be obedient. Okay? That is the differentiation I'm going to hopefully make today. I think I'm a pretty obedient child. But then I will also have to understand as a child, what does it mean to be obedient in my house, and how different is that going to be as the way I'm mothering my baby? Okay. There will come, the more you heal, the basis of this class is the more you heal, the more you're going to see obedient children and wonderful children that will just do whatever you say. But they also have to have their own minds as well. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people will, actually, I'm surprised some people, no one has said something like, sacrifice. I've got to sacrifice myself. 'Cause
Hmm.
these days they cause conflict. Listen to what parents asked us. Um, that's very interesting. Kids cause conflict. That's very, very interesting. Um, okay, let's move on, inshallah. Okay, so motherhood doesn't create every wound. Sometimes it reveals them. As someone who
Hmm.
has gone through this, obviously I'm a mom too, and gone through intense coaching, therapy, and now does that myself, I can actually vouch for this. The motherhood and marriages simply reveal wounds that are already there. Okay? You are already experiencing these things, whether it be rejection, disobedience, things like that. So I've made here, what is here? I have made here a little diagram for us to understand. So the behavior happens, whether in your children or yourself, the behavior happens, and something inside you gets so activated, and then you react, and then you get triggered, which becomes a behavior. So I'll give you an example of this. It could be that your kid did something so annoying, right? Maybe they didn't listen to you. This is what happened here. Something inside you gets so angry. You're like, how dare you disrespect me? And then you react. Maybe you shout at them. Maybe you start screaming. Maybe you walk out the room. Whatever it is that you do, but something happens here because you got triggered and this has now become a behavior. Okay, let me give you another example that I've written here. The situation is maybe your child is struggling in school. Okay, child is struggling in school, the behavior happens. This is the event that happens. Something inside you gets activated. Maybe a thought or something that you say might be, I don't want the school to think that I haven't raised my children enough, or I haven't given them enough education for them to, get on with their um I'll come back to that, Dr. Julia. Um, this is the thought. Maybe something I have done makes them like this, and then you react. Whether you are making your kids do even more homework, or you're making them study so much that they get so tired, and then you become triggered and thinking, oh, I need to do something about this. I'm getting triggered because this belief system here is getting triggered, therefore giving me this is what I'm exhibiting as a behavior. Okay. It's like we didn't have a choice as kids, and we do not have a choice now with our kids as parents. So it's a total frustration. I get this. Everybody has choices, by the way. Now, as adults, you have a choice. And we're going to explore those choices today. So I want us to start asking this question. What meaning have I attached to my child's behavior? And is it true? So the example I gave about your child talking back. So when your child talks back, the behavior, they're talking back to me, mum this, mum this. I said no, blah, 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 da, 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 da. I've told them maybe to wash the dishes, let's say, or pick their school things up, or do their homework, or clean their bedroom, right? Very simple things I'm asking these kids to do, and start talking back to me. Well, why can't I do this instead? I want to play this game. I want to do this. Yeah, but can I do it after my subject time? Da, 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 da. And something inside me starts to get activated, or inside you starts to get activated. You start getting very, very angry. There's a lot of anger coming up. Why can't this child just listen to what I'm saying? I've told them to do this, and that's it. That's final. I've told them. How many of us think of this? How many of us think like that? Like, hey, I'm telling you to do something, you just do it. We've all been in that position, right? Where we just think, just please listen to me. Please, please just listen to me. Can you be on time for school? Just get ready. Can you just put your uniform on quicker? Can you just eat your food, please? Like, please be done by 4 o'clock. We've got madrasa to go to, right? We've all been there. So start getting activated here. And we start thinking, "Oh, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Because my kids are not listening to me." And then you react. This becomes a trigger, which then becomes a behavior. So we need to start asking ourselves, what meaning have I attached to my child's behavior, which is here, the second thing that happens. Maybe I'm not a good enough mom. Maybe, see, we're all guilty, right? Which makes us all human. Just a side note before I go on, even if you start working with yourself, does not mean that you're never going to get back at that situation where you think, just hurry up. We need to get out the door. You're still human. You're still going to react, but it makes those reactions less. Okay? You become a very calm person. Okay, so maybe this will probably put it into perspective a bit more. So, in our childhoods, sometimes we parent from our past. Okay, so some of you have said for us to be those, for us to be those perfect daughters or perfect kids, a lot of you, almost all of you said obedience. So you had these things that you had to do to become these perfect kids, right? Which starts here, childhood. When we parent from our past, we need to understand it starts with our childhood and how we were raised, and then the beliefs that were put in us, and then the triggers that come from those beliefs, and then our responses, which is then our child's experience. Let's give you an example. When my child says no to me, for example, my child said no, I said, look, you need to be ready for school at 8 o'clock, let's say, right? She's not ready. This is a regular occurrence. But we both know obedience is our thing. Kids are supposed to be obedient. Excuse me. Kids are supposed to be obedient. Why are kids not obedient? This is your childhood. Your belief is all kids should listen to their parents. Kids should, of course, kids are there to listen to us, right? I am the mom, I am the father. I should be listened to you. I should be listened to. But you got triggered when your baby did not listen to you. Because he or she's like, oh, no, we can go in 10 minutes. I'm not ready yet. I need to put my socks on yet, mom. Haven't finished eating yet, mom. I'm still hungry. Can I have more food now, mom? And then your response is what we're all struggling with here. But that response is what shapes your child's experience. So where you're all looking to make the change is these three things here. Your beliefs, which is why I started off by asking, as a child, what were your experience of being a daughter? So are they not supposed to listen? Yeah, of course they are supposed to listen. But my point is the way you were given an answer as a child, which is just listen and that's it. When you didn't understand why we have to listen, why is it that I have to do these things, or given space to listen and given space to understand, that's the difference you're going to put onto your children. The way that we use our tone with our children can be very, very different. The aim doesn't stop. The aim is still the same. I want my child to listen. But we have to go back and understand, why are they not listening? What is it? We sometimes forget that we have 20, 30, 40, 50 years on our kids. So we know why we're getting ready at this time. But sometimes when you put a lot of pressure on kids, they freeze. And so we have to give them that space. So, and I will come to this they have to comply. Children have to comply, but we also have to teach them in different ways so that they comply. The calmer you are as a mom, the calmer your babies are. Has anybody ever experienced here when your babies were genuinely babies, like small babies? The more stressed you were that particular day, your child was more clingy, wanted more food or more milk even, was very, very fussy. Sometimes this happens even in toddlers. Has anybody ever seen this? Yes. The connection between a mother and a child is incredibly immense. When you are in a negative environment, you are gonna feel that negativity. How many of you have been into a room and no one said anything, but you know there's tension? You can feel the tension, right? Like you go into a room and you think, what happened? Can someone tell me what's going on? But no one's answered, no one said anything, but we can feel the tension. That's exactly the same way with our babies. I say babies, but I mean all ages, right? Your children know when you are stressed, when you are tired, when you are angry, when you are happy, when you are joyous. They can feel it. So the calmer that you are in looking at these things, your childhood, your beliefs, your triggers, the easier it becomes to have a great childhood experience. Okay, we want to become our children's safe space. We are living in a day and age, especially those that are in the UK here, and I suppose as a globe, we are living in a day and age where there is so much information being given that is not in line with Islam. Okay, and it's my job and your job as parents and as part of the ummah to be able to give our children, and I'm talking as an ummah as well as our own, the best knowledge that they can get, right? That's why we send them to good schools and madrasa and have a loving home. But tarbiyah starts at home, not in the madrasa and not in the schools. It starts at home because as someone who works with teenagers and things like that and children and their families especially, the thing that I'm seeing more and more is people and kids and children not wanting to go home simply because of the tension that is constantly at home. Now, that does not mean that you're not going to go through issues at home. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the how people are with them. There's no space being given, there's no privacy being given, there's no anything. It's just do this and that's it. Whereas if we create relationships with our children that are a little bit more open with boundaries, because we're still Muslims, guys, with boundaries, you're more likely to have children come in you and say, you know what, Mama, this is what happened in school today. So and so tried to make me, add social media. I've had it. My girl has come home and said, Mama, someone wanted me to get on social media. Can you do it through the laptop? And I'm like, what social media through the laptop? My girl doesn't have any social media, of course. And I'm like, what does that mean? But if I was someone that was just hell bent on one particular thing, she wouldn't have come and told me. She would have then been like, oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? You want to be that child's first person. I feel that instant change in behavior if there's a little argument. Yeah, there is going to be. I just also want to say we're human, right? We're going to argue. There is going to be tension at home. Sometimes people get ill. Sometimes you have a disagreement with your spouse. It's normal. But I'm saying when this is a constant state, we want to have an open door policy in our house. And I say with boundaries because everybody's open door policy is going to be very different to what your tolerance is, to what your circumstances is, to what your family's like, all of these different things. Okay. There's no one truthfully right answer, but my position in this class is to say to you that we've got to get on a position where we have to be that safe space for our kids. Because when we are not that safe space, Habibti, I'm dealing with adults that go through this now. They start looking for that comfort in things that is not made permissible for them or is not good for them. I'm talking about drugs, I'm talking about alcohol, I'm talking about men and women, intimacy, I'm talking about shopping, I'm talking about food, all of these things can become addictions. And we cannot think that it's not happening in the Muslim community. I have had people come to me and say, I want to leave Islam, Aisha. I don't want to be a Muslim anymore. I don't want to, just don't want it. I don't care about anybody else. And that is the most hurtful thing I've ever heard. One of them. When they want to leave Islam because they're in contact with people, whether that's family members, friendships, spouses, and they're in contact with people that have neglected them so much. Okay. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the trigger cycle. I'm sorry, I do talk a lot. I do talk a lot. Okay, so we're talking about the trigger cycle now, and this is the cycle I want us all to remember. This is part of cognitive behavior therapy. So if you ever go to a cognitive behavior therapist, or
Come
um
on then.
if you're ever in Kurat's one-to-one sessions, I don't remember, you do one sessions, right? Um, that's better. She will go through this with you. It's part of CBT. So anyway, I want us to start thinking about events that we have gone through in our lives. When we feel that we have lashed out on someone or become irritable to someone, this is something I want us to start thinking about the cycle. Okay. So we start with the event. The event happened. Someone lashed out on me, or I did something. Then we think about the thought that comes with it. And then it's followed by the feeling that makes us feel. Okay. And then the response and impact. Yeah, so that's just telling you she does her one-to-one CBT sessions. I want us to think about, I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, girls. I want us to think about this very, very thing. I'm going to give you an example. So, for example, she ignores me. Say one of my friends, say I text Kurat, she ignores me, right? That's the event. It could mean that she was busy, she was, doing mom things, she was doing business things, she was at an appointment, she went to mosque, whatever. It could be anything, right? But then the thought that came in my head is, she doesn't respect me. She doesn't love me. Why didn't she answer her phone? I've called her twice now today. Maybe it's because I said something. What was it that I did? And then that creates anger within me. And in anger, I start shouting at her, why did you not answer my phone? And that creates disconnection. If you put this into a child, right? Child. So let's just say your baby ignores you. You told her to sweep the living room floor, or do her homework, or take the dishes after we've eaten, or put her clothes away, or get ready for exams, or pray her salat. And she ignores you. The thought that comes in your head is she doesn't respect me. She doesn't care about me. But I'm her mom. How dare she? I'm probably over dramatizing this, girls, but sometimes these thoughts are real, right? And then you get angry and you start shouting at her. You do not disrespect me. I am your mom and you should be listening to me. One of the things I suggest for things like this is here when she ignores you, she can ignore you. Maybe she did, right? Here, which is what we're going to come on to, which is the pause method. One of the things that you want to be doing is take a minute before you respond to anyone and anything. This is such a beautiful sunnah to adopt, and it's also taught in CBT to stop physically because sometimes our mind spirals. It spirals. The shaitan comes in, so he's going to be coming in at this point here and probably telling you, yeah, she don't respect you. She don't respect you. She didn't listen to you last week when you told her to pick the dishes up. She didn't listen to you last week when you told her to go over her Quran. She didn't listen to you before. And all of a sudden, all of those memories of her not listening will come up for you in that moment. And this is where we forget that we are adults and they are children. They need to be taught. So you ask the question, always ask the question to a child, did you hear me? So you're making sure that you know and they know that you heard, or they heard, excuse me. And so then you can say, well, but I just told you to do this. And you have to give them a second. We're also forgetting, girls, um, children do not function as quick as me and you. They are still developing. They need time to understand what you're asking. Sometimes you have to fill in the blanks. That's okay. We, as the adult, are teaching children to respond to us. We cannot expect them to understand what back chat is straight away. We cannot expect them to know exactly what we're saying straight away. Sometimes you might have to rephrase what you said. I remember the first time my girl was told off for talking back. And it was not me, it was her father who was said it to her, like, are you talking back to me? And she looked at him very confused. And I remember asking her, like, do you understand what that means? She was very young. And she said, no. And that's in that moment I realized how she's supposed to know something that I didn't explain. Sometimes kids can fill in the blanks, of course. I'm not saying they can't, but it's our job to make sure that they know and not assume everything. They don't have fully that capacity that me and you have. Okay, moving on. I want to talk about responding instead of reacting. A few of you already mentioned that quite a few times to me. Like let's talk about this. And this is just one thing. More of these things that I'm giving you right now will be talked about in depth and will be talked about more in the next class, which is on the 1st of September. Okay, if you haven't signed up already, I will send you a link. You need to sign up because we are going to be talking about the how now. We've spoken a lot about what's going on, that sort of thing, but the next class is going to be more in depth about the how. What genuine things can I put into my life to help me? First things first, by the way, I would always recommend one-to-one coaching or therapy with someone because we're going to unpack that childhood for you so that you can understand where your behavior is coming from so that you are not repeating cycles. Okay? This particular method I like to call the pause method, right? What you're doing is you're creating space between you and the other person. So when I get mad and I know that something has triggered me and I can feel it in my body, this is something I can recommend you doing. Bear with me. Okay, so yeah, one of the things, this is just a taster, I guess, for what's going to happen on the 1st of September. First things first is you want to pause. You want to create the space before you respond to someone. Um, and that pause genuinely means either stop what you're doing or stop talking and just listen for a second. It means stop. Create that space genuinely, whether it's a physical space or a space of trying to understand what the other person has said. This is a beautiful thing that you can also teach your children, okay, when they get mad. The next thing is to acknowledge, name what you're feeling. Like, I can't understand, I need a second. You hear that, you hear me see that. My God, my English today. You will hear me say that. Like, can I just have a minute? I'm trying to understand what is going on. And it's genuinely my mind racketing, thinking, what did I just hear? So I may ask you again, can you please repeat that? The U is to understand, what story am I telling myself? This pause method, you can stay at the first two, right? The P and the A when someone is talking to you. But upon reflection, this is something that we need to start doing genuinely with ourselves so that we can teach our kids. What story am I telling myself? Am I telling myself that I'm an incompetent mother simply because my child is not listening? And is that true? And your mind can give you that evidence because that's how it stores memories. The next thing is to soften, to regulate yourself before correcting behavior. This may be in the hadith, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us about anger and he tells us about water, the effects of water on anger. So when you are angry, he tells us to change your position, but he also tells us to go and to make wudu in times of anger because anger is like fire and water is calm and it extinguishes fire. Okay, so we have to remember that when we were going through our training, one of the things we were taught is when a client is in severe distress, whatever physical position they are in, to change it. So if you are sitting, I would ask you to stand. If you are standing, I would ask you to sit down. If you are sitting, I would ask you to lay down
Mama.
because someone said something. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, so to physically change your position is a beautiful thing to do. So but if you're in room A, go to the next room just to give yourself space. Sometimes we need that just to figure out what has been said. Okay. And then the last thing is to engage with intention. So making sure that we are engaging with our kids with intention when we are saying back. If I am telling you that I want this room tidied by 2 p.m., you give them that time. Put a deadline on it and say, if this doesn't happen, be very intentional with what you say and always follow up. If it is not done by 2 p.m., then we cannot do the next thing. And I still do this as I have a preteen. I still do this. So, like we're doing this lesson right now, her job was to make sure she goes and showers and cut her nails, right? And it is always done because I gave that deadline. Okay, I want it done by now. Otherwise, then there's repercussions. This is especially great for older children as well. Younger kids, you give them a set time. So, okay, we've got 5 minutes. Can you pick up 10 things from the floor? Okay, so you make it a bit softer for them because they're not going to understand all of these things. But this is what you're going to be doing for yourself before children. Inshallah. Okay. I think we've done this. Language. Okay, so your link will be shared by the end of the lesson, inshallah. We're going to go over all of these things again. Not all of them. Going to go into more strategy next lesson and give you very much real life examples, a bit like the way I've done it here. So the language inside us becomes a language around them. The way you speak to yourself, Habiti, becomes the language that your children are going to speak. I'll give you an example. My favorite, which is I hear all the time, is obviously not my favorite, but all men are lazy, let's say. How many of us have heard this growing up? Men are just lazy, just get it done yourself. How many? Tell me in the chat. How many of you have heard that? Men are just lazy. You just got to get on with it yourself. Just do it yourself. It's gonna take 500 years for him to do things anyway. Yep. I knew someone would say that. Like, yeah, I've heard this. When we were younger, we heard that all the time. Ah, don't rely on a man, just get it done yourself. You just got to do things for men. Just make their life easier, right? This is just one example. This is one example. Um, so many of us grow up with certain beliefs that are simply not true because what we said there is very vague and it's also very black and white. We're putting one particular people in a category of everyone. Black and white speech and language is used a lot. All men do this, or all women should be like this, right? Or we put it into a race, all South Asian men should do this, or all la 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 la, or all Muslims should be like this. And that's very vague and not a good thing to put into children.
What do we eat for dinner?
Let me just
Fish.
We bought codfish.
Maybe the other participants can mute themselves while we're having class.
That's why
Yeah.
I did it. I think sometimes when people come into a class, they don't realize they're on mute. I sometimes do the same thing. Anyway, some of the language, this is an example. So she's so difficult, or she's having a difficult moment. He never listens, or I'm struggling to get through to him right now. All men are trash. All women should be like this. Women should stay at home and look after the children. I mean, these are belief systems, but I'm talking about language here, right? You can still have that belief, sure, but the language you use around yourself is what your children are seeing. If I'm a person that's constantly saying, oh my God, I can't eat that, I'm on a diet and I'm so fat anyway. Your kids are going to they will say something. They will be like, oh, but Mama, you said you're so fat anyway. And then you look at them like, what do you mean? Not realizing actually that's the language we are using with ourselves anyway. So of course they're going to pick it up, right? This is a moment where we have to think, am I using the appropriate language for our children? Sometimes the answer is, yeah, sure I am. And sometimes it isn't. because language creates behavior. Language determines the thoughts that we have, and then those thoughts create the beliefs that we have. And those beliefs then are exhibited through behavior. And so me and you have to be really mindful of how we languages that we should use. Oh, Maryam, that's in the next class, inshallah. But just to break this down a little bit, the language that we have to be talking about is of beauty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everyone different. When you put everyone into big labels like lazy, or difficult or ungrateful, because the thing is, if you put one person in one category, that is not true. Sometimes I can be lazy, but that's no. I'm talking about having black and white language. Black and white language is when you say all people are like this or all people are like that. Yeah, shouldn't have opinions are not bad. It's the way that we say it, because we have to be very mindful of the beliefs that they grow up with. Okay, so if we keep saying that, if we're continuously saying things like my daughter is so disrespectful, that child then grows up thinking, well, I've always been disrespectful, so what's the issue of me doing it now? We can have that belief inside us and think, oh, okay, I think that my girl is very disrespectful, but it's how we use it with our child. If you keep saying it to them, they are going to start believing it. So you have a quick conversation about it, and it depends on the child. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on whether they have siblings or not. It depends on the house, the mahal, environment. It depends on so many different things, which is why that when I say about children, I'm saying most likely I'm looking at your behavior before your child's, because everything is always interlinked. This is where our burnout matters. Exhaustion always reduces emotional capacity. Okay, so when I mentioned right at the beginning, we're going to talk about being burnt out, exhaustion, and the way we look after ourselves, our children are seeing. It is imperative that we take the time out for ourselves to be able to teach our children that it's also important for them to take time out for themselves. Everything that you exhibit, your child is seeing right now. How you conduct yourselves in arguments, even, because we all argue, we are human. How you conduct yourselves in how you have meltdowns. We all have them. We all have them. I'm not here to say that your child's never going to have a meltdown. I'm not here to say that your child is never going to answer back. I'm not here to say that your child's never going to have an opinion, nothing like that. What I'm saying is that when these things come up, you can have a big discussion about them, because a child is there and they are being raised in a fashion to learn. That's children, right? And they are learning from you. Your words, the language you use, the thoughts that you have to, and then exhibit them, excuse me, how you exhibit the thoughts and your behavior, they are learning from you. We are responsible for being content within ourselves and looking at our lives first to be able to show our kids. But also, they are their own humans, right? My point in this is you're going to come across things where you think, this is so difficult. You're not always going to have the answers. And I think in a day and age like this, a lot of us want answers to everything. And we aren't going to be 100% on this. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to have a bad couple of weeks or a couple of months. You know, I try to you girls are great listeners and focus on distractions instead of not sure if that's the right way. Yeah. So you would focus on the goodness. Hey, I know that you love listening, because sometimes when I'm telling you things, you listen to me so well. Can we use our good listening ears again today, please? The tone matters. If you match their energy when they are screaming at you, you're going to get more screaming at you. And I'm telling you, I know this is not easy. I know that you just want to scream at them and say, can you please be quiet? And in some cases, that does help. Everybody goes quiet. But in majority of the cases, in order for us to educate them, we can't do that. Or we have to come back to that discussion and say, hey, that behavior that you exhibited, I'm talking about a little bit older kids in this regard, really. But even when they're younger, when they're toddlers, I did this with my own girl. Hey, when you were screaming at me like that, I couldn't really understand. How about we use the inside voice? And they will think about it. You've got to remember they are still learning. They don't have the capacity and the emotional intelligence like me, you do have. And I think all of us, including me, genuinely forget this. But the more we are exhausting ourselves, the more exhausted we're going to feel around our children. And they feel it. They know that mum can't be bothered today because she's too tired. I know that sounds really horrible, but it's true, right? When we are physically tired and there are going to be periods of exhaustion, sure, they can feel it. Get your children involved with your houses, girls, as well. That's what I would say. Get your children involved with things that you are doing around the house, just to lighten your loads as well. That's really important because what you're actually doing to your children is you're teaching them very, very good skills. And I'm talking about fine motor skills, the ability to zip up their own coats or take out their plates for themselves where they're toddlers, put their shoes away. I am a governor at the local school here, and one of the things that we have really struggled with is in reception classes, and this is nationwide, by the way. In reception classes, we are having children that simply do not have the ability to zip up their coats. And we're talking about the age of 4 to 5 here, where they should be able to do that. So all of these things that we teach them, through play, really do help them, especially with their fine motor skills, with their ability to think critically and to challenge you. Their job is to challenge you. It's very normal because they're trying to figure out what is good and what is not. And they're going to keep doing the same mistake again and again because they have to. That's young kids. But as we go up into teenagerhood, etc., or just preteen, they will still do the same thing, but they have a better understanding of emotions. Now, they still are not quite there where they're understanding really big emotions. So you got to help him understand, what does this mean to you? Why is it that you're so angry? Why is it that you want to stay in your bedroom every day? In our house, one of the things that we did to try and combat things like this is more family game time. And I get beaten every single day at Monopoly. Every day I'm getting beaten. And you got to let your kids have that. I think I have. Okay, so we're coming towards the end where we have questions, inshallah. Okay, so what does emotional safety really actually look like? Emotional safety in children and in ourselves, because we come first, is connection, having a connection with someone. So it could be watching funny things together. It could be creating your own board games together. It could be going outside, going to the farm, spending time together. But it also means boundaries. Okay. So when you have set a task, stay on it. I have told my child that this task must be done by then, let's say an hour and a half. So right now we're on 1:10. Let's just say, for example's sake, I said to my girl, you need to be done in this particular task by 2:10. There has to be boundaries put in. And that's how they learn about time management, etc., etc. There also has to be a facility within you to repair what you've done wrong. Because me and you, we're just human and we are going to mess up. We are going to. But I think a big part of parenting is to be able to say, I'm sorry that I shouted at you. However, you say the however, okay? Sometimes I get to that point when you don't want to listen to me. So let's work on our listening ears more. Okay. Then that goes into the next, just listening, having a lot of rahmah, having a lot of mercy, and having faith. Remember, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that grants hidayah, not me and not you. And sometimes we can do so much, but our children will still go down the wrong way. And I don't mean that to scare any of us here, but I wanted to remind you because sometimes we take it very personally when our kids have done something that you think, I didn't teach him this, right? If they fail to finish the task, you ask them like, what were your barriers, right? What is it that was, why is it that this is not done? And if this happens, these are the boundaries. So, for example, it could be that they didn't finish this particular task. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm doing this class right now. A task that I've given my girl is to have a shower, cut her nails. This is what I said to you at the beginning, right? If this is not done, then I will say, okay, what was the issue? It could have been that someone called her. It could have been something that's genuinely something happened, right? So you have to go in with that and think, okay, what was the issue? Sometimes it is, sometimes maybe her dad's called her to do something like that. I'm like, okay, fine. But then, did you tell that person that you had something to do? So you have to make sure that they know what the process is. Because sometimes they don't think about, oh, I could have done it after. So you have to prompt them a bit. Okay. The other thing I would have done is, okay, I'm sorry that we had something to do at 3 p.m. We can't do that now because these jobs need to get done. So can you go do them now? But the tone in the way that you talk matters. You can be very kind, but be very firm. It's really necessary. Okay, everybody has to have jobs. Ah, please make sure that you sign up to this and then we can talk more about this. Inshallah. Okay, so safety, as I said here, safety is not perfection. When you're giving your babies a place of safety, it is not perfection. Sometimes you're going to mess up. Sometimes you have to tell them every single day for a week to do something. Sometimes it just never gets done. You have to have rahmah in this. Because me and you, sometimes we needed to be told so many times. Sometimes we did a half job. Even I still do. Sometimes when I really don't want to clean my kitchen, I just do the bare minimum. And they're allowed to do that too. And we're going to be wrapping up for questions in a bit, inshallah. So healing is an amana. So one of the reasons I put this particular class in place, and I think me and Qurat always speak about this all the time, is how our children are an amana. And I know we all know this, but we also have to understand that me and you are going to be asked about how we raise these beautiful beings of ours. They are not ours, they will go back to Allah, as will we. But it doesn't take away from how difficult those little beings are. And it's okay to admit that, you know what, I'm having a really hard time today. I think as an ummah, we need to be more compassionate with parents because what we're really good at, which is what I've seen, is telling people, you should do this, you should do this. Oh, why can't you do this? Why can't you do this? Well, why don't you stay at home with them more? Why don't you do this? And that is all in well when you want to really destroy someone's self-esteem. But what we can do is offer words of barakah, yeah? Words of beautiful rahmah. Because honestly, sometimes that mom is so tired. And just hearing you say that you're doing a great job, they're going to cry their eyeballs out because nobody tells them. We don't tell each other. We don't even tell of ourselves. For us, for a child to remember their home or what we want our children to remember is all of these words that I've here, sakina, which is sukoon, peace, rahma, which is mercy, and amana, which is a trust. We want them to feel that they can trust us and come home with us and say, do you know what, mama? I had a bad day today. And us to just open our arms and say, that's okay. Sometimes I have a bad day. Without prompting them too much, it will eventually come to you. Because they're still small beings. They're still learning so much. Like, guys, I can't even begin to tell you how I've seen my girl grow up and I think, excuse me, you're almost my height now. All of us have been in this position, right? When our kids are getting older and you're like, excuse me, when did you grow up? So we have to ask these questions. What ends with me? What is it that I'm no longer going to do in my parenting? What is it that I don't want to do? What is it I want to add as well? What do I want to keep? What do I want to change? And then what do I want to give my children? I needed myself. But I want to finish off by saying something that I think is very, very important too. We should not be parenting our children from a place of lack, meaning I didn't do this, therefore my children has to do this. It's very important we don't do that. The reason I say this is because they are their own people. Our job is not to live life through our children. Our job is to live life through ourselves. You are still a whole woman, with or without children. You are still a whole woman, which means that we cannot forget that we need time. We need our own time. We need our own self-care. And I'm not talking about just face masks and hair masks. I'm talking about sitting with ourselves and thinking about what feelings are coming up for me. Why was I so mad today? Why was I hurt by that? Why do I feel betrayed? What is it that I don't want to pass on to these children? And how can I make it better? And I'm telling you, as you start working on yourself, the behavior of your children will change dramatically because they are simply going on what they're feeling from you. Does anybody have any questions? I think we finished here my slides. Right, let's stop the share.
Sister Aisha. You shared it was so captivating, and I was just listening, and revising my knowledge. Mashallah, so many reminders. I think no matter how much you have learned, although I'm still in the beginning of my learning journey, but it's always good to have reminders, sometimes listening from someone else, and sometimes, just recalling all these things. It's like, yes,
Yeah,
these are the things I needed to know once again. Truly amazing, mashallah. Thank you so much, Sister Aisha, for your time and everything.
you are
And to all
most
those who have attended, um, Sister Asha can take some questions. We do have 10 minutes around if anyone wants. So we have so many positive comments in the chat as well. Thank you so much. I did share, Sister Hadia has shared our TorchBearers social handles if you wanted to join us, follow us on the different social links. We also have this masterclass link. And if you have followed us before, you must have seen for our South Asian community or those who cannot afford, we do have discount code as well. So after the session, then if anyone wants to sign up, but for whatsoever reason they cannot, please send me a message. I will put my number as well. Okay, Sister Aisha, you have a question: how to get info about one-to-one session with both of you for mothers?
I was just gonna say, I mean, I do. Oh, someone's coming now. Allah. I do one-to-one sessions, but why they should contact you, I think. I think the best way is to contact you and then you can give my
Yeah,
details.
okay.
Or if you want, I can put them in the session in
Yeah, sure. Mm.
if you want. Habibti, I don't know my number off by heart.
I'm putting my number here. That's my,
Okay,
of
perfect.
course, business number, my work number. So if any one of you want to have any information about Sister Aisha's work, do contact me and I will send it over. Also, if you want to have any information about the paid masterclass, then yeah, you can send me a message. Because we are going to have it next week, the same day, Tuesday,
Mhm.
we are bit short of time. So if you want it, then please sign up as soon as you can. Then we can send you all the link. I think 24 hours prior to the class, we will stop the registrations. So we have idea of the number of people attending, and then we will send a Zoom link.
Yes, it's the same time next Tuesday,
Yeah,
inshallah.
yeah, same time.
But the number above, I said the number above is where you need to message, inshallah, and then you can register. Same time next week.
Yeah,
We will be conducting the same. So some of the things that we went over this session, we're going to go over them a little bit more. There's going to be more examples and things that you can put into everyday life as well. But I'm also going to challenge you a little bit more into think about yourselves as well as women. What is it that we need to be putting in as well? Just a small request to everybody here. If you could text Qurat, so she's given her number here. If you could text her exactly what you found great about this class, That would be wonderful because it makes all the difference to us when we do classes to hear from you. Like, what is it that you loved about it? What are we taking away? Barakallah feek, Zainab. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world for all
Yeah,
of you
yeah, it
that,
really does.
that came.
And also, just one more thing before you leave. For the paid masterclass, those who will sign up, they will get a workbook as well
Oh
to
yes,
track
I
the
forgot.
triggers and to, take a record of their maternal well-being, health, inshallah. So yeah, just to let you know if you are going to have a paid class.
Inshallah, that would be wonderful. Barakallah fiki, all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Kurat, I will stop the recording now, but I'll still be here
Yeah,
if you want.
yeah. Just to ask, yeah, thank you so much. Okay, Sister Umme Hassan is saying, Jazakumullah khairan, Kasia, it was a beautiful session.
Yeah,
Love the session. Yeah, it's really nice to hear all this positive feedback. Basically, because we are doing it for mothers, and we know this. Sister Aisha's work is all with the mothers, and we know this. We
Mm,
need to empower the mothers of this ummah if we want to see the change, because these mothers are the one who are going to take the generation forward, inshallah. So definitely, in whatever way we can help the moms, we will do, inshallah. Sister Aisha's work is all about this. My work is more with the children, but yeah, wherever I can get people like Sister Aisha to come in the platform of the torchbearers and help the moms, we'll keep creating more of programs like this for you guys. So even if you want something else, something more, do let us know in the chat, or maybe contact me in the number. Because wherever I get some more information or more feedback from the mothers I meet online or in person, and they're always telling, yeah, this is the thing. If you can talk about this, or if you can help us with this, then we create programs, workshops surrounding this.
yeah. I think as many people as we can to get to spread the message because we're all learning from each other as well. And like I said to you at the beginning, I am a mom. I've been a mom for many, many years now. I know what it's like. Sometimes she can be just as stubborn as any other child. There are some days where I'm like, why hasn't this been done yet? I told
Mm,
you this so many times. I'm still that person, just a regular woman. And there are days when I'm frustrated because I'm like, hey, I've told you a few times now. You know what I mean? But I know that there are some people that struggle with that as well, that struggle with shouting, that struggle with this,
yeah.
all on the same boat is what I'm trying to say here.
Mm,
Motherhood is not easy, is it? In any capacity, it's not easy. We did not come with this kitab that told us, okay, in this situation you need to do this, or you need to do this, or you need to do this. You know, we're all figuring it out. That's why we're all asking each other, like, what do I do? We all are gonna go through those things. But I'm gonna stop the recording now, inshallah, and then we'll see.
yeah.
What you said was gonna be on.
Yeah, you can just stop the recording when it is processed from your side. You can send it over to me.
Mhm.
We'll upload it on our channel, and we will send it to the participants.
Okay then. Okay then.